that came out I think it was yesterday, about this guy Yada, um, was a known kind of fraudster for many years now, but had been able to rebrand himself as someone who was, providing, a provider man that was providing for his wife in an extravagant way, right? And so he had this young wife that he got after a whole lot of turmoil. He had basically, about 10 years back, I think, had ended up being exposed as someone who was, being very fraudulent around his product line, his wellness line. He also had a woman at the time that I don't know if he was actually married to, but he called her his wife, and he ended up, discarding her in a very brutal way publicly. Also, a lot of allegations of DV with this cat. And a lot of the men were coming out and saying, "Hey, this guy's a fraud. Y'all better leave this guy alone." But sure enough, he ended up with another wife, another woman, a young woman by the name, I believe her name is Aja. She has all these different names, but um, young pretty girl, and he got her entrapped in his, facade, right? So the next thing you know, it come on my radar just recently, maybe a year ago or so, that he had rebranded himself into some kind of soft life for women, family man, provider man, guru that, spent a lot of time, talking a whole lot of crap to other men about how they're not doing things right if they're not breaking their women off with a lot of money all the time, providing them with a soft, cushy life, treating them like princesses, treating them like queens. And he became very known for that, I guess. They do have a very large following on YouTube, or not even on YouTube, but on Instagram and probably on TikTok. I don't know. But I always knew this guy was a fraud because I had seen what had went down prior to this whole transition. I don't know how we get so lulled to sleep by people, but it does. This whole thing that has come out yesterday, where this young wife, Aja, who he's been with for 8 years now and had a bunch of kids with, and now come to find out she's letting everybody know that this soft life that they have been portraying in social media was really all a hoax. He has been whooping on her for years, brutalizing her. She came on, her eye was super blacked. It just was a mess. And I have to say, I wasn't surprised at all. I had been thinking about them a few weeks ago, and I was like, I know there's a lot going on underneath the surface there, because I just never could buy their whole rap, right? And so it's concerning to me though, because it's still a lot of women who were totally behind him. They were idolizing that relationship. They thought that was something to be looking towards for themselves. I don't know, I'm like, y'all must be young or something, because this guy has a history and it's not a good one. He was coming up in them nature boy days. He was one of them kind. So for me, it concerns me that women are still out here being duped so easily. That's the most concerning thing. At the end of the day, we know that a lot of these guys are utilizing these platforms and trying to appeal to women. One, because they know women will spend a lot of money. So if you're offering products and they've got your mind, they can get you to buy them products. And so a lot of women were falling for the okie doke with this, and really thought that he, the luxurious life that he was portraying, that he was showing everyone was a real reality. And I think, this sister coming out and saying, hey, no, this is not really what's been happening underneath the surface. I've been getting brutalized, financially abused, and all kinds of stuff. And it just makes me think, because I like the concept of the soft life, but for me, that concept has to do with self, and providing yourself with a soft life, and that involves various practices, various lifestyle choices that will allow you to be able to provide yourself with a life that doesn't revolve around this PTSD type of reality, where you just are constantly on guard, constantly trying to figure out how you're gonna make your money, constantly, running around for some corporation, and really just not honoring yourself, And I think a lot of that is happening with us. And it made me sad to see that so many women were falling for this, because at the end of the day, soft life is something you should give yourself. And so we're still looking for saviors. We're still looking for men to provide for us. when they're not even providers like that. Like you do have some, certain ones that will do for their women and are good men. You have those. But at the end of the day, they're not providers and they're not protectors like that. And usually you need protection from them more than anyone else, from your partners. So, with that being the situation, I'm not really sure how people can be promoting that women go and find wealthy men and find men to take care of them and provide for them. One, because women are fully capable of providing for themselves. And we've seen that there's so many women with businesses, so many successful people in the internet world. That are women that are doing their things, managing hella stuff. I don't know why this old world concept of finding a provider is even still a thing. It's very silly to me. And so, when I seen this sister come out and, her eye was blacked and she was looking, real sad, I said, this is not a surprise. This is just what this is. This is every single time it's going to come out just like this. Anyone who's talking loud about doing this and that for women and honoring women and praising women, they always flip mode. And so we're talking about Yada, we've got Young Pharaoh, we got Nature Boy. I don't know what that was. That was never good. So many people who we thought were really about the Black woman in particular, and they've come out to just be straight violators, straight abusers. And I think for us, it's a good lesson. I hope more women will listen and learn from this situation with the young sister Aja, Yada's wife. They will learn that, everything that glitters is not gold. Just because a man is offering you money and offering you things and a lifestyle does not mean you're not going to have to give up something. And in her case, it sounds like she ended up in a prison of sorts because they had this brand. She had to, look like this super well taken care of, really beautiful woman all the time in social media. She had to put on and portray this facade, as a mother, as a young woman whose brain is still developing, and portray this facade and keep it from people for so many years. They've been together for 8 years. This woman, when she said that he blacked her eye recently when she was 8 months postpartum. Okay, 8 months. I mean, 8 weeks postpartum. She just had a baby. Okay, and the type of coldness and callousness that I showed from some text messages she shared. I showed this in my short last night. It's just appalling. So this is the kind of stuff that this sister has been dealing with, and it really boggles my mind that we are still falling for this. I think, sisters, we really need to gather our energy and focus on, doing the internal growth and the work that's necessary so that we can provide ourselves with this lifestyle that we are envying and idolizing in other people when it's not even real. Because, your greatness and your wealth and your riches are not going to come from being codependent with a man. That's not where that's coming from. And so, while I understand there are good men that have been powerful providers in history and even currently, that is just not the norm. That's not what most of us are going to get. And so, yes, this sister, she's come out with her truth, but even in it just goes to show you how much mind control he had over her. Even in her having to come to the realization that she needed to share with the population the brutality that she's been dealing with, even in that, she still, in her last words, is talking about how he's going to always be her best friend. This is the kind of mind fuck that a lot of us end up having to navigate through when we leave these narcissists and these Machiavellian men and go on to try to find our own joy and our own self-sufficiency. And so with her, I give her a lot of grace, because she was a very young woman when he found her. But for those of us who are still, matured women, brains developed, we're doing our own thing. We've been doing our own thing, but still looking for somebody to give us a soft life. It doesn't actually make any sense. And so I'm just hoping more people will start to, focus inward. Go towards yourself. Stop going towards these men. Most of the time, they're going to provide you with exactly what he provided her with. Okay, when the pressures of the fake lifestyle become too much, when the need to control begins to overwhelm things to the point where all he can do is exercise his control over you, you're in a situation, okay? And these women are getting themselves caught up out here still. I know for myself, I don't deal with men like that, but in the past, I have been in situations, and it would always be very contentious for me in my marriage and in my past relationships because I was never someone that could be controlled. And so that was a big issue. They need a lot of control. If they're doing things for you, if they're providing for you, you're going to have to give up something. And a lot of that is going to be your autonomy. A lot of that is going to be your body's autonomy because for a lot of these young women, they become breeders. These men keep them knocked up. They keep them pregnant because they think that's going to keep them under their control, and even more. And the next thing you know, you're walking away with nothing because they've been controlling all the finances too that you claim was providing you with this soft life. But really, what they were trying to do is set you up so that you could look a certain way for the public so that they could have that money coming in too. And come to find out, I don't even think this sister even necessarily has access to that. From what I heard, she has a GoFundMe up trying to get money. So we don't know because she's coming from a lineage of scammers. So we don't even know if this whole thing is some weird scam. We really don't know. But I will say that we got to do better as women. We need to do better. We need to stop playing games with ourselves. It's a lot of self delusion, a lot of delusional behavior, and a lot of playing games with ourselves. And these are dangerous games. Okay, this sister, every time you see her, she got a gun on her hip or she's shooting in a range or something, putting that message out there that she will use a gun if she needs to. Okay, this young girl. And I'm all for being armed as women and having the power and knowing how to utilize a weapon if you need to. But the fact that you can tell that she felt her life could be threatened by this man, okay? And that's what that tells me. And yeah, for me, y'all, we need to do better as women. We need to really think about what we're doing when we're out here saying we want love and we want this and we want that. And be very careful because there's influencers, women who are promoting this mess. And I won't name any names. We know who some of them are. And it's just a mess. You are setting women up to really, really end up in a lot of trouble, a lot of problems, and to end up very damaged or dead. Okay, running into and becoming codependent with a man to the point where he's controlling everything you do and also brutalizing you is not the thing that we want to be teaching our younger women, teaching the youth, okay? And so I just wanted to say that, and it's just sad because I saw it coming. Like I said, he came back on my radar not that long ago. And when I seen what they were promoting to the public, I was just in shock because I'm looking at all the comments below his videos and below his shorts and his reels, and I'm like, people really believe in this shit. Like they're really taking this serious. And everybody was just so eyes glossed over. Oh, this is so beautiful. You're the kind of man I need. I need this in my life. And then a few weeks later, come out that this girl, there was a text message that she had posted up just showing who he was, she was letting him know that she had, a tooth that she was about to lose because of all the smacking he'd been doing and punching or whatever he's been doing. And letting him know that, she was in severe pain. And then if the tooth gets infected, she is going to end up having, that infection in her breast milk. I mean, this is a postpartum woman. And his response was, well, go to this some doctor. He's cheaper. Some mess like that. Like no care in the world. No, I'm sorry I did that to you. I'm sorry you're going through this. Nothing. And folks was actually online taking this dude serious as a good man, as a man that could teach other men how to be men. It's deep. We need to do better. And we also need to watch what we are putting in our daughters' heads. I have a daughter, and never in a million years would I teach her that she better go and find her a rich man so she can, live a good life. It doesn't make any sense. This is old world stuff. This is stuff our grandmamas was having to deal with, and they had their reasons for needing to find men who could provide for them. One, they couldn't, even get bank accounts. They couldn't. There was so many things that women were not allowed to have for themselves in the past. But we are not in that situation anymore, and I can tell it's the ghosts of our ancestors and their ignorance and all of these things that have us still seeking for something that is a complete facade, and it's a trap, period. It's a trap. I've been saying this and I will not back off of that. That is a trap. So if you're promoting that to your daughters, I would, really, really do a good pivot, because it's a setup. You're setting your daughters up for more trauma, as if we don't have enough of that in our DNA, enough of that in our family lines. And, for that trauma to continue down the line. We don't get to break the cycles. We just continue to teach them foul things about how they should live their lives, and then watch their lives deteriorate and, go into damage control mode. And that's it. And then all of that is getting passed on to the children. And so, yeah, this soft life thing is dangerous. And we're seeing that. But, still so many women, they just, especially if women are beautiful, they think that that's just like they're entitled to having someone take care of them and all of these things. And for me, beauty or not, you still should be making sure you have your own shit and that you're totally autonomous, even if you're in a relationship with someone. Because it just doesn't make any sense. There's nobody on this planet that you can really trust like that, outside of maybe, those in your family that you've known your whole life. Coming into something with a man and expecting that to bear out and be everything that you expect it to be, for the long haul, just is not likely. And this sister's been dealing with these beatings and these aggressions for years, she said. So it's like he probably, got her under his psychological control and his physical control very early on. And she stuck it out. She'd been there for years. Why? Because of the appeal of, having that money, having that access to finer things, being able to portray that in social media and feel like you're special or better than other women, and then also proclaim yourself as a teacher or a coach, coaching other women on how to get this in their life. It don't make no sense, y'all. That's craziness, okay? And so it's we're seeing a lot of this these days, because as we know, Divine Feminine is coming back online. So a lot of us have decided to put all of this pursuit of these relationships to the side altogether and focus on ourselves, because that's what you have to do in a time like this. I mean, we are literally watching the disintegration of not only just the United States and the whole system that we've been living under, but the whole world is going through massive upheaval and change. And to still be out here dealing with this petty, catty, stupid stuff, in this day and age, it doesn't really make any sense. We're not there. And I think a lot of us need to go ahead and wake up and ground ourselves in the reality that we're in. And it's not that. We're not there. Maybe our grandmothers needed to do that, but we don't need to do that. We need to focus on getting ours, giving ourselves a soft life, giving ourselves a padded life that feels comfortable, that feels cush, and that gives us a lot of ability to expand into more of who we are, and less of, trying to look a certain way on social media. And so for me, I just pray, that more women will be training their daughters on the real shit. And, I know that there's a lot of influences as well, because you have social media, and social media is influencing a lot of minds. So even if you're teaching your child or your daughter about real life instead of, this delusional life, um, and there's nothing wrong with delusion to a degree, but when it has to do with being delusional over wanting to be a codependent, that's a different thing. But there are women who are trying to shift and change so that the next generation can do better. But then we're also up against those women who are holding fast to the illusion and the silliness of the past. And unfortunately, those tend to be very, very loud and very, very prominent in the social media sphere. The more crap that you're spilling on social media, the more likely you're going to get more play, more attention. And so these women that are promoting this soft life thing, some of them have a lot of attention on them, and they will not take responsibility when these bad things happen and they find out that these were followers of theirs and that they have gotten themselves in a mess pursuing this lifestyle. So, you can't blame anyone for the choices you make. You have to be smart. So, more discernment on our behalf, more discernment. Women need to discern better, and that doesn't mean choose better, because you really probably have no business trying to choose one of them to begin with at this time. Okay, so it's not necessarily a choose better, discern better. Discern the things that you're going to allow to influence your mind. And something like a soft life is a beautiful thing, especially if it's autonomous and it's something that you are providing yourself. Okay, so being economically independent, being socially healthy, having good mental health, providing yourself with a comfortable place to dwell so that you can be creative and be able to develop the things that are what you want to share with the world. That's more of the soft life than being taken care of by some dude. And yeah, so I hope more women will wake up to this. I hope that they learn from this sister's situation, because what a facade. We're talking about 8 years and several years of them promoting this mess. Okay, there ain't no luxury in the world that's worth allowing yourself to get beat down, brutalized, wondering if you're gonna be killed in front of your children. All of these things. There's no wealth, there's no abundance, there's no money that could actually make that feel good. I don't care. So that is it, y'all. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. I think it's Tuesday. We're here in beautiful Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's a little overcast today, but grateful to be here always. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. And we will be in touch. I'm going to post a video here pretty soon. Peace and love.